Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Outdoor Adventures podcast right here on Brownfield. I'm Brent Barnett. Happy to be joined by Caleb Drake here on the program this week. Caleb was last on, what was it, last deer season. You had just killed a 190 with your bow. That was an awesome episode, man.
Yeah, I don't know if that was October or November, but yeah, it's been a little while.
It's been great. Well, it's good to have you here in person. Tell the listeners more about your podcast and some of the stuff that you do, man.
Yeah, sure. So I'm changing up a little bit of what I do on my podcast, but it'll be at least a monthly episode on the Backwoods Bulletin podcast. I do cover some outdoor news on there on occasion, or I guess somewhat regularly. But I also just like interviewing people, names and personalities, people that are educated in whitetail hunting, waterfowl. We've had guys that are really into like crappie fishing even on there. So just anything in the outdoors, in the backwoods. So that's what I do sometimes.
Not too many people that have been on the pod can say that they've taken a 190 with a bow. So congrats on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Still psyched for you. I mean, just looking back, how crazy was that whole experience for you?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I was telling my wife this the other day, and even one of my friends, just that it's funny that the history, quote unquote, that I have with the deer was from the day that I saw him and then like the 45 minutes till I shot him, and it was probably one of the most asked things anytime that I would like show a picture to somebody or, I took him to the taxidermist and they were like, oh, what's your history with the deer? And I'm like, well, nothing. So in some ways I really enjoyed that aspect of just like the purity of just like, I just went out and to a pre-scouted area and happen to get lucky, one mindset, I guess, is preparation precedes performance. That's a motto that we had on a cross-country team I was a part of in the past. And I was prepared in the preseason aspect and for even just a historical good stand location and shooting my bow and stuff. And that was really my main preparation for that. But it's still kind of crazy. It's kind of got me in a weird spot going into this season, as far as like, what do you do now? Where do you go? I mean, so I think it's actually made me a better deer hunter in some ways already, as far as like looking at the maturity of an animal and trying to age, look at the neck and the belly sag and some of those different things on a buck that, regardless, like staying away from like, oh, he's got a big rack. That must mean he's an old. I mean, don't get me wrong. If a deer's got a big rack, I don't care if he's 2, right? If he's big enough, But just so that aspect of just those things for me, because like coming into another deer season is kind of like, well, what do you do? I mean, your expectations have to be a little bit different, I think. But some deer get to 150 and that's it, and
that's a stud.
Yeah,
I don't care what people say. Right. 150, that's a stud.
Yeah, so those are the things. And at the end of the day, like, man, just if it did, like you were showing me that one deer that's like a crazy, goofy looking, non-typical, like those deer get me excited just as much as anything. So it's like I take the score out of the equation even, and it's just like it's nice to have that for like a reference point, right? Of like. It's a pretty universal topic that people can understand of like, oh, that's how big a deer is. But yeah, I mean, even last season, my approach was just enjoy it, had some other goals in mind. And this season is going to be the same, but I mean, he's at the taxidermist. I had the rack. I mean, until probably a month ago, I had the rack at my house. So like we were this close to having it here with us, but I'm excited. I'm excited to get that mount back right now. That's kind of what's next. So.
It'll look awesome. Well done. Congrats, man.
Thank
I'm
you.
happy for you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned a really important word there. He said preparation. That'll kind of be the focus here. As we talk, it's the week of July 21st. And so we've got a little ways yet until deer season opens for archery, October 1st. But, man, how important is the time right now? Just for preparing for the season. You and I just had a really good conversation off air and learned a few things from you, especially related to e-scouting. So maybe just walk us through what you do this time of year.
Yeah, I think one thing I do is I fish. We were talking about that too. So I think I even take like a mental break, I guess, from the that stuff. But I think then I get to about this time of year. My wife would tell anybody this. I go in like weird cycles of like deer hunting season, turkey hunting, sheds, all those things. My mind kind of goes in a cycle, and it never really goes off of deer hunting because that's like what I've found to be my true love. But the mental side is what I think about right now. And then even getting your bow out, shooting it. If you do need to take it in, it's a great time to like, hey, get your bow into the shop if it needs to be tuned up at all. Or even at your house, shooting your bow in the backyard, whatever you need to do. And then I think there's an aspect of like, it depends on what your situation is. Like some people have a lot of land that they manage and they've been working for months, on food plots and stuff. Some people don't have a lot of land and it's still okay to like in my case, my next step is going to be on the places that I do put a few food plots in, like back in Illinois, a few places here in Iowa. We're going to hit that in hopefully a timely rain in early mid-August. But we're going to prepare by getting stuff sprayed, burned, whatever we're doing to get that prepared, that seed bed a little bit. And then I just start to make a plan. Like right now, my biggest thing is making a plan where we've got some places maybe we're going to save closer for the rut. So we'll kind of leave them as sanctuaries, if you will, up until that point. And so I'm mapping out even like how I'm going to approach hunting in the early season in October in those first couple weeks. What does that look like, as far as a property that I'm going to maybe avoid? Maybe there's a spot I can go sit over a bean field. I know I've got a preset stand in a cedar tree that's a really fun sit. And it's really hard to hunt it when it's corn, but that's beans this year. Mm-hmm. And so like I'm going to intentionally make a sit there at some point if I'm really itching on a nice night, that I won't go into like maybe a spot that I know I want to wait till like a rut funnel or something like that and not put too much pressure on it. So those are the things I think about. I'm starting to map out that in my mind. One thing for me this year is city hunting, that I'm going to kick up my intentionality of city hunting.
Cool.
I've done that the last 2 years. I almost didn't do it last year, so I was a little lackadaisical in my approach. But after killing such a large deer, and then I actually had some fun stuff happen during shed season, my neighbor behind me found a nice 5-point side that they showed me and gifted to me. And then my next door neighbor, I asked if I could go walk this little patch of woods by their place, and I found a 10-point match set like 100 yards out my back door and in their little back patch. And so I am like, okay, the size of bucks in the city have seemingly getting to an age of maturity. So my city hunting approach is going to be kicked up a little bit. I have to harvest 3 does this year to qualify for a buck tag, to receive a buck tag for the next fall. And that opens 2 weeks prior to the October 1 opener in Iowa. So that's going to be one of my steps, is like if I can try to get something like that done prior to the opener, or even to help me, in those 80 something degrees days in those first couple weeks of October, to just stay out of some spots that maybe I've got another buck that I'm looking at somewhere out in the county, try to fill those 3 doe tags. So, I might even implement a food plot in the city limits. I've got one spot in particular that could really be a really nice spot for a food plot. I just have to ask the landowner permission. And so that'll be something I'll be doing the next 3 weeks, and trying to get that something going there so that it'll hold deer, maybe the whole year, even keep them off of the road that's close by, those sorts of things. It could be even good for the city, for someone's car insurance bill, those things. So that's kind of, I'm shifting. My mind's shifting from fishing to hunting. And so, getting the bow out, all those things, going to get, I don't put a lot of pressure on places in the summer. So like I've got some spots that, I'll need to velvet scout with the binoculars. And then based on that, maybe even have a camera in my pocket, or go out the next day and hang a camera where I'm seeing deer funneling out. So that's kind of the shift I'm making right now as we kind of approach season.
Nice. Hey, I will say, thinking of like deer, like city deer and in town, believe it or not, just last year I remember going on a hunt in the morning during the rut, and on my way leaving the house here, I mean, we're right in the middle of town, and there was a buck chasing a doe right here in the neighborhood where our house is. I only made it like right down the street, and there he was. Yeah,
and they're everywhere. I mean, I've even heard somebody it's kind of shaping one of my thoughts when it comes like food plots and just habitat management, about how resilient deer are. A lot of people like manage habitat for deer specifically, but like thinking about like all the like the quail and things that have a harder time surviving, I'm like, like deer live in neighborhoods, right? Like they live anywhere. So it's like they're really resilient creatures, and that is fun, but it also, it's like, it's exciting when you're leaving for a hunt to see that, but it can be one of the most depressing things when you get back from an evening hunt and all of a sudden there's big old 10-pointer standing in your front yard tending a doe. You're like, come on, I just sat in the woods and saw nothing,
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Jeez. Well, so are there like certain areas that are like huntable within like the city? How does that work? Are there like hunting zones, or what does that look
There
like?
are different zones within the city limits that I have to hunt, and the laws are the same, really. I've got to read up on the acreage amount, but it used to be 2 acres minimum. So you have to qualify for the hunt first. I should back up. You got to qualify for the city hunt, shoot a certain number of arrows. It's 4 out of 5 arrows at 20 yards in an 8-inch circle, and then you do some paperwork. You got to go buy your tags, and then you have to get permission. Or if you own land, you can hunt on. But it used to be, and I think it will still be 2 acre minimum. And then there's a bunch of rules. If you put a stand up, you got to take it down unless you have permission or own the land. 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after, similar to public land. And then you have to harvest. You have to be from an elevated position. You can't shoot from a ground blind unless you do own the land. You have to, like, even when you shoot a deer, you harvest a deer, you have to call the non-emergency number for the police department. They dispatch an officer and they recover the deer with you. So like I could track a deer if I harvested one, I could track it out and confirm that it's down. But I can't touch the deer until they dispatch an officer. They want to make sure that you followed all the laws. Here's the stand location. Here's where the shot took place. Here's where the deer lays. And excuse me, but it comes from a little bit of a legal mishap that somebody did a couple years ago. So they really tightened down on that 2 years ago going into it. And then 3 doe tags filled equals a buck tag the next fall.
Nice.
So,
well, good luck to you. So is it the same October 1st like it opens, or is it earlier? Or
2 weeks before. So it's mid-September.
Okay.
Mid-September, and then it carries to, what is it, usually January 10? Yeah, every year. So, it starts 2 weeks earlier, and then you get to kind of, you let it run its course.
Nice. Well, looking ahead to, this fall, aside from the city and urban hunting, man, what goes into scouting during the summer? Do you get in the woods at all at this time? Are you putting cameras out or anything?
I will be. I mean, I haven't to this point. I do have some cameras that I keep up year round back in Illinois. And so, again, like that, we have not every camera out right now. We did stuff early. So like, I did some stuff kind of like would be in like a frost seeding time period and earlier rains in like May that we'll kind of have some stuff that we want established earlier on. And then we'll now go into a kind of our second wave in the next 3 weeks here where we'll mow some paths, we'll spray, burn, and plant some food plots. So it's kind of getting some, I guess that stuff will mature a little later, right? So we've got some corn and beans back in Illinois that we have up, and that'll stay up, but it might get chewed down pretty good, But so then we might have some clover and some turnips and stuff that'll be better for later. So we have kind of stages of food out there. And then camera wise around here, the cell cams that I put those intentionally like further away spots, like spots that I'm not going to be able to maybe go. I like to use SD card cameras still. So those are closer. So I can go check those 3 or 4 different properties on a Sunday afternoon if I wanted to. But the cell cams, I'm putting those out like I'd have to drive a long ways and that's a little more remote, I guess, or even a spot that's like I'd really have to hike in far to like go check that camera. So somewhere I'm trying not to disturb as much. So those are the things I'm doing, and I'm kind of trying to time that based on I don't want to, like right now, if I've got a buck on a nice pattern, let's say, I really don't want to try to mess up too much for him yet. And it also depends on what the farmers are doing. Like the permission that I have, I'm really in tune with my farmer friends, right? Like I know maybe what cutting of rye or whatever they're doing right now, or whatever they're cutting of, or when are they going to cut the beans? When have they planted the corn? Those things. 'Cause for them, if they still have a big thing coming through, or maybe they're going to cut another field, a huge clover field one more time before season, well, that could shift your activity a lot between now and then. And so I'm not a big pour a bag of corn out and, that sort of thing type of a guy. I've thought about it. I also just don't make $1 million a year, so I'm not going to spend a lot of money on that stuff. So I rely a lot on natural deer movement. So I'm going to base my camera placement off of that in the next 3 weeks here. And I might even put some stuff later into August, into that part of the year. Deer stands wise, I'll put up some permanent, quote unquote permanent or longer standing sets. I hunt out of a saddle or off the ground a lot too, though. That's probably the main ways that I hunt. And yeah, so those are kind of the two ways that I'll approach that as far as the deer stand stuff goes. But yeah, I mean, I keep it pretty simple in those ways. And then even just having a plan, because I have a lot of permission. I was telling you that before off air. I almost ask too much permission, where I get to the point where I'm like, I can't decide where I'm gonna hunt.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah. So I'm at the point right now where I'm like, I have to dial back and go, okay, realistically, I don't know, let's say I can hunt excuse me, maybe like, I don't know, let's say 7 hunts in October. It's like, realistically, if I haven't filled my 3 doe tags in the city, 2 of those hunts are probably going to be trying to fill the last, let's have 1 more doe tag to fill in the city. So now I'm down to 5. It's like, well, 5 hunts, like, if I'm spreading that across 5 properties, I'm pretty much wasting my time. So even just planning that out of like, okay, if I'm going to do that, I've got to really narrow down what's a realistic possibility,
Yeah.
And like there's one spot in particular on a year that typically on a year with beans, which is this one piece has beans. There's an island of timber that once the beans are out, I'm talking like second week of October, there's no deer there, but there will be deer there. Like I saw deer there the other night. I drove by in the evening and I could see a pile of deer filtering out of this little patch of timber. So I know there's deer in there early. So like that's a spot that in the back of my mind, if I get an east wind after a rain or just a strong enough east wind, or maybe, yeah, so I guess it could be a mix of things. But if there's any rain that happens and I can get in there, it's quiet enough, it's small enough, I need to still hunt that in the first week of season. Or if and I won't put a stand up in there because I don't want, like, it's small enough, I can't pressure it. But it'll hold. Like there was a really, like, similar to that Funky Bucky showed me.
Yeah.
Insanely funky deer in there 2 years ago. But we had him before season, first week of season. As soon as the beans came out, he was gone. I mean, so I've got spots like that too, where like it's taken a couple years to learn those things, but yeah, once the stuff gets out of there, yeah. So just dialing in those things, making mental notes of, okay, that's that spot, so if in October we get a nice rain in the first week, or if we have a strong east or northeast wind, I'm probably going to go in there and still hunt that spot. So,
Last question for you. We've got a couple minutes left here on the show this week. I want to ask about being ready with your archery equipment, with your bow. I feel like, a lot of guys and gals, like September 23rd rolls around. It's like, oh, dust the bow off and go out and shoot some arrows. You killed a 190 last year. Man, how important is it to be ready and shoot a lot during the summer? At least some.
Yeah. I mean, I don't shoot a ton. I mean, you can. I mean, unless you're really shooting competition and stuff, and you have your bow set up at your house to restring it because you shoot thousands of arrows a year.
By the way, not to interrupt, but we had a Pella competitive archery shooter here on the show just last week or 2 weeks ago. Deacon Reed was his name, and I think he was telling me he shot like 3,000 arrows a week sometimes.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
he'll go through his strings a lot faster than me. I'll say that.
But anyways, you can keep going.
So for me, I don't try to shoot like insanely far. I've got a target I can shoot out to 60 yards in my backyard, but I do weird stuff sometimes. I'll shoot different angles. I'll shoot standing. I'll shoot sitting. I'll shoot on a chair, out of like a lawn chair. And I'm talking like, it'll be now and like, especially when like the school year kicks up, like my wife and I really get busier, it'll be like, hey, the last 30 minutes of daylight, I'm like, okay, I'll group up. Maybe I'll have 4 or 5 arrows, maybe even just 3. And I'm shooting 4 or 5 rounds of 3 arrows. But every evening if I can, or every other evening, and that's it. But that's it in 20, 25, 30, 15, 10. I mean, just move around your distances, figure out what your pins are. I have a really tall step ladder that I'll sometimes climb up and I'll sit on towards the top. and I'll take shots with that angle. Like I'll sit at near the top of the step ladder, and I'll like, it's a little rickety, but it's similar to a stand where you can't get your feet much wider than what you would in a deer stand.
Yeah.
And you're sitting down or you stand up, and it's like it's a similarly unstable, like what you would call a deer stand, like the instability of, not quite as high as what I would go, but like similar idea, shot angle, those things. I think it's important, and it's also just important more than just like shooting distance, knowing what your comfortable distance is. And I'm always trying to get the deer close. I mean, like the closer the better, really, as long as I can draw. But like, I'm not somebody who like, I maybe get really dialed in at 40. Like I might get really comfortable at 40. I probably still am never taking a shot unless it's like a Hail Mary, like, oh gosh, I need to shoot this now. And I don't know that I have that anymore. But it's like, I have to shoot this deer at that distance. And, so for me, I get really comfortable within the 10, 15 to 20 yard shots. And like, if I'm confident in those three, that range, 20 and in, I'm dialed. I mean, if it's just like clockwork and my muscle memory is there, we're good, And so that's the thing. So it's just consistency, and it doesn't have to be rocket science or anything too complex. I think sometimes it gets really overly complex and people are like, oh, I got to do this crazy thing. It's like, if you got 8 arrows and 5 of them you always keep in your quiver, and you got them all your broadheads, you don't want to switch broadheads out, well, take your 3 arrows and shoot 5 times, 15 arrows a night. I mean, you're going to have hundreds of shots leading up to season, And
that'll do more for you than you think.
Oh yeah. And the other thing I found is this year is I hunted a turkey season with my bow, and it kept me really dialed, even coming out of like a hunting season, going into a different one, that I really enjoyed. So yeah, I'm not the best at shooting year round insanely consistently either. But yeah, you got to be out there. I mean, I'll be hopefully hunting September 23rd, right? Like you mentioned That day, it's like hopefully I'll already be in the stand. So always being prepared is important.
Cool. Well, I hate to cut us off here, but how can listeners watch or listen to the Backwoods Bulletin?
Yeah, so Backwoods Bulletin is on Spotify.
Okay.
It's on Apple Podcasts. That's the best way to do it. I have an Instagram page for it. I'm not a really big social media guy, so you probably won't see much there unless someone's tagging me in a post or something, or if I post something out of, maybe an episode that came out. I don't post a lot on my personal social media, but it's just Caleb Lee Drake on Instagram, and I'm on Facebook. And if I do anything hunting content, like video wise, I have a little YouTube channel, Wildfoot Outdoors, that I'll post stuff to, like my 191 videos on there. It's a little 3-minute short,
I saw that one.
Yeah. So it's that stuff's around, but it's not something I post too crazy often. So don't expect like super consistent of anything, but maybe a here and there.
What an icebreaker you have for the rest of your life. Oh, yeah, my name's Caleb. I killed a 190 with my bow.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I didn't do it with trad archery, though. That'd be way cool if it was trad. So, I'm not that cool.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Well, same to me. What an accomplishment, man. But, hey, thanks for coming in. It was cool to meet you in person, and we'll have to have you back on the show.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, cool. Again, that's Caleb Drake here joining us on Outdoor Adventures. Appreciate you being with us here on the program on Brownfield. I'm Brent Barnett. Have a great weekend.